We'll start. Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Vaishali Mathur, publisher Indian languages at Penguin Random House, India. Today, I am chatting with my most favorite author and the gorgeous Divya Dutta. She has, I think, Divya, you worked in these past 2 years. You have created, I mean, an altogether new profile for yourself. She is an award-winning actress. She is writing books. She's an author. She's become a poetess, and she is also all over the OTT platform doing several things at the same time. So, welcome, Divya, to this evening to this very nice broadcast that CrossFit guys have set up for us. And I hope we can actually live up to as good the as our book is. So, if you have the book, if you can hold that copy up, we'll be talking about the stars in my sky. You don't? It's all right. It's all right. We'll be talking about her book, The Stars in
I
My
am
Sky.
so here to chat.
I obviously
Next
don't
week,
have
बात
a copy
करेंगे.
because we don't get copies at home now because as you can see the bookshelf
I
behind
have
me is
a
full.
copy
It's
at
full.
home, but then you will have to like excuse me like for a minute, but we can do that later. So
We can
yeah,
do that later. We can do
yes.
that later. We are talking about her latest book, The Stars in My Sky. And I want to begin by asking Divya. Divya, tell me what was the first time when you thought about the book and how did you come about the idea? Because I know you and
Well,
I chatted about it quite a bit, but how did it form up in your mind? How did the book come about?
so first of all, let me thank Crossword for having us here for this amazing conversation. This is the first time I'm actually officially talking to my editor. So
That's
this
true.
is so lovely. And
Yeah,
I must say, Vaishali, you've been such an integral part of my writing journey, right from my first book, which is Me and Ma. And that
I
was more of an
you are
organic
so
thing that
amazing,
happened.
Divya. It's always a pleasure working with you.
No,
Yeah.
it's been really nice that somebody understands you the way you are and supports you for who you are. And I didn't have to ever keep any pretenses with you. Not that I can keep, but I was superbly comfortable with you. So how this book came about was that I think
Yeah.
after Me and Ma and our journey together, I think we never called it a full stop, Vaishali, did we? We always thought there's
No.
going to be a next one, and we always planned
True.
further stuff, and you always
Yeah.
asked me which is the next. So I always thought, what is it that I am extremely passionate about after my first book, which is on my mother. And you need to be really
Yeah.
passionate about what you write, and be you really need to strongly believe in the subject you write. So I just
Yeah.
thought it's the world of movies for me. It's my journey in it. It's about the people who really made it a beautiful place for me, and we really don't get to, like, today I heard you say I'm your favorite. So I don't hear that all the time from you.
I
So
saved
I
it.
had
I saved it for today.
this. So what happens is that, I mean, again, these are the stars in my sky are those people who you don't really get to say this every day, but they have probably brought in a smile on my face, or patted my back, or held my hand when I really needed it most. It might not have been the biggest of gestures ever, but at that point in time, maybe that really mattered to me a lot. So
Yeah.
sometimes you really need to tell those people what they mean to you, and stars in my sky is that. It interestingly brings in and covers in all the anecdotes of my meetings with them, of our movie journey together, and about things they did for me. So it makes an
Yeah.
interesting read. And I think you kind of told me a very interesting thing, that why don't you just add a positive thing that you learned from them, which was a plus point for me to add in
Yeah.
that. Otherwise, I would have probably just written a regular think that, this is how I met them, this is what I love
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
But that thing also added an extra thing, and so yeah, that's how the book came about. And and how we sat discussing the title, and it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
organically came by. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a journey beautifully traveled. And I must, in fact, on this public platform also tell you that I am immensely overwhelmed, emotional, and grateful that you've always held my hand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deva. It's always been a pleasure. It's always, I don't know, somehow I didn't feel the disconnect. It's not that I was trying or anything. It's just that, both of
I
us
just
came together and it just felt like the right thing to do. Yeah.
yes,
And at the
yes,
same time, I think that's the sort of expression that has come out in the book itself, right? Because this is what we were discussing, and there are 32 personalities in the book who are from the
yes,
film world. And it's not easy. It's not easy being who you are in the film industry. It's a difficult path that you take. And there are so many people who take this journey every year, begin a journey. And at the end of it, I don't know how many are successful, but I can see the amount of hard work that you have put in. And also, the most amazing thing about the book is this: you have been able to articulate this almost imperceptible thing about each one of them. I'm quite sure you've gone back to all these people and they have said, "Oh, we didn't know you felt that way about us," because that these are small things that you pick up, and you can pick up only when you are sensitive to those things yourself. So I could see, like, through the book, I can see what is the hard journey that you've tough journey that you've had with each one of them, starting from Mr. Sham Benegal, which was so interesting to talk about. So if you want, if you can just sum up a couple of people that, like, from the book, who hold dear more than anything else, and who have been sort of highlights in the book. If you can talk about one or two of the people, that would also be fine. But just to give the readers a taste of what's there in the book.
Vaishali, you're right when you say that. For me, the most priceless thing was when I wrote a chapter. One chapter I would shoot to you on the mail. One I
Yeah,
would just read it to my family just for a feedback,
yeah,
and then I would
yeah,
also send it to the people I wrote it on. And for
yeah,
me that was a beautiful experience because I have never faced experienced something like that before, because whoever I shared it with either was very emotional, or we just there were long silent pauses on the phone, and because everyone was so choked with emotions. And
yeah,
it's very rare that you tell somebody what you really feel for them, and that you remember those little things that they have done for you,
yeah,
or you have felt really beautiful about. And to acknowledge that, I think anybody, whoever it is, big or not so big, would always feel really nice about the fact that you remember and you acknowledge. and
yeah.
um, and for them also, I mean, so many of them were so surprised कि अच्छा है तुझे ये भी याद है, ये तो बहुत पहले की बात थी. So
True.
I sometimes really am amazed with the power of the subconscious, कि कितना कुछ संभाल के your subconscious keeps in your head. Whenever you just need something, you just open that cabinet and just take it out and just write what you want to write, and recollecting it. It's a beautiful journey with yourself, I guess. So for me, as you said, for me, the most interesting, I mean, chapters would have been एक्चुअली सभी हैं. लेकिन एज यू सेड श्याम बेनेगल, तो श्याम बेनेगल का तो ऐसे था कि ही वाज ऑलवेज ऑन माय विश लिस्ट टू वर्क विद. एंड
Yeah,
ट्रेन टू पाकिस्तान opened the doors for me to meet him. And I was so amazed because I just met him at the premiere of Train to Pakistan, and I ran to him just like this is my only chance to meet him. And I just introduced my friend introduced me to him, another actor. And she said, "This is Divya." And I was like, "Sir." And she was calling him Sham Babu, so I realized, okay, he's called Sham Babu.
yeah,
And
yeah. That's a
so
lovely, yeah, lovely way of addressing.
yes, and so I really found it very endearing to call him Babu. And
Yeah,
so I just told him, I said, "Sir, can I have your number? I really want to come and see you." He didn't waste a second in giving me the number. And I thought when I call him, maybe some manager or somebody will pick it up. And
yeah,
when I
yeah,
called him, he very nicely said, "Sham Benikil here." And I was like, "Sir, this is Divya. Remember we met and I took your number?" He says, "Yes, yes, young lady, I do remember." And I said, "Sir, can I come and see you?" And he says, "Yes, tomorrow 4 p.m. in the office." I was like, really? There is no, what do you say? We have a lot of showbiz in our industry where,
Yeah,
you like to have these people in the forefront so that you look unapproachable.
yeah,
Rightly so for some situations. But then I see somebody like Sham Benegal, who is so approachable, so there, and so straight about it. And then I met him. I said, "Sir, I want to do your film." He says, "Young lady, my casting is done, but there is one dance from thing left, an item dance. Would you like to do it?" So I recollected. I said, "When did Sham Benegal ever have dance sequences in his movies? It's not his kind of
yeah,
movies
yeah,
ever." So I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll be, one of the first in his movies to do that. Maybe Mandi, of course, but that was like a different subject altogether, and Bhumika also." So I was like, yes, I must do it. But what I learned in the process was, Vishali, that he believed in a newcomer who was all of 18. He called me for 7 days. He said, okay, go to the local dancers and see how they dance. I found it very weird that why should I just go and see these people? Where are the choreographers? Why are they not teaching me how to dance? I was just thinking that. And he sent
yeah,
me to these local dancers, and 2 days I just did that, wondering what's happening. And then he said, okay, now this is the song, choreograph it, seeing those steps in mind. I was like totally taken aback. And then I did that because Sham Benegal had told me that. And then he said, okay, now you have those girls, teach them how to do this dance, and you will be performing day after night, and it'll be like a 7 camera setup, and you have to perform. So
yeah,
I was completely dazed that I am a newcomer. I am a new actor in his unit, and he's giving me the responsibility of choreographing a song for him. And he has the confidence that I will be able to do it. With that
yeah,
pressure, I think it was a good pressure, and that responsibility. And the unit, who were all there, even though they were not required, they were all there in the night up. I mean, they could have gone and slept in their hotels, but they all were up all night
yeah,
just to cheer me
yeah,
up. And that was a night I'll never forget. And after all the applause and cheering that happened, I just kept looking at that one man. And he was so unaffected by all this. And I just
mhm,
stood there that this is Sham Benegal, who
yeah,
is the boss because he gives his team the responsibility. He tells them to be connected with each other. Nobody on his set is ever in the vanity vans. We're all sitting out, chilling, dancing, singing, and all that
yeah.
chemistry kind of translates on the
Then translates
movies.
on the
Yes,
movie
yes.
screens,
So
and
that
the
is Sham
work that
Medical.
people put in. Yeah, that's really nice because I have met Mr. Sham Benegal at the Jaipur at the Calcutta Lit Fest.
Okay.
And yeah, and so we were, I think we were all like in a way backstage, and sitting and waiting for our this thing to happen, our sessions to happen. And he was wonderfully unassuming and quite warm, and anybody could approach him. And that was sort of, I got slightly intimidated because I felt that he was so approachable. Should I, you know?
Yes,
So should he be
that's
that,
him.
should he be that approachable? Yeah. So wonderful. I think I love that episode. It's really heartwarming. But tell me something. There are a lot of stories about Veer Zara also in the book, and I'm saying a lot of stories because these are from different perspectives. So start with the funny one that you had with, I think, with Shahrukh Khan,
It's
your
Shahrukh.
film. Yeah.
Yes, so I
And
I and
tell
then
us about the language bit so that people can enjoy.
So, Veer Zara in many ways was, I always had this fantasy. First, I'll talk about that and then I'll talk about the funny incident. So, I always had this fantasy of being a Yash Chopra heroine. I think every girl would have, because I have grown up on Yash Chopra movies, romanticizing life and thinking my Prince Charming is going to be some Raj, some Rahul somewhere. And to date, I
True.
haven't found one.
Or maybe you're
So,
not telling us.
So no, I think my expectations were like it has to be a Yash Chopra hero or no one. I mean, I think his romance that he portrayed in movies, on a serious note, is like a landmark. It is something that people look up to. He takes you just transfers you into another world altogether. So I
Yeah.
always fantasized to be launched as a Yash Chopra heroine with chiffon saris and all that stuff. And when I joined the industry, he was in my audition. He was sitting right in front of me. It was a Stardust talent hunt. There were Shekhar Kapoor, Yash Chopra, Subhash Ghai, Suraj Barjatia, the who's who sitting right in front of me, and I was supposed to perform in front of them. And I kept looking at Yashji and I said, if he just likes me, I will be the next Yash Chopra heroine. Was my own fantasy going on inside.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even though I was selected in the Stardust, I started off in multi-starrer movies as one of the lead girls doing two songs, two romantic scenes, and that was it. And I was like, okay, I mean, ठीक है ऐसे शुरू है तो ऐसे ही सही. लेकिन one fine day I heard from Aditya Chopra. He called me up and they said they want to meet you. And I was like, wow, the two legends want to meet me. And one fine day, I just had a meeting with them and they said, we are making a film called Bir Zara. And I thought maybe crossing fingers, toes, everything that they'll say, we want you to play Zara, but nothing of the sort happened. They said there is Shabo's role and she's Zara's friend. And my face just dropped. I said, if they are going to cast me in a friend's role, I am done because the whole industry is going to just give me this image of being the new best friend in the industry. So I
Yeah.
think Aditya read my expressions and he just said, listen, if it was an ordinary role we wouldn't have called you, so trust me, you'll always be remembered for Chapeau. And the way he said it, I knew there's something beautiful out there. And I did it with all my heart. My mother had told me there's no Godfather coming for you. Whenever you get a kick ass role, do it so well that, nobody can ignore you. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, so this one I will give it my best. And with the dialect coming in and everything coming in and talking Pakistan, making calls, hearing them talk, picking up the accents, everything I had done, worked
Yeah.
hard on it. And I had done it all. And at the premiere night, I remember I was holding my mother's hand and picture dekh rahe the. It was all there. It was a Yash Chopra film. It was a beautiful film. I was a part of it.
Yeah.
But I was Shabbo and I was like, God knows how I'll be accepted. And
Yeah.
I came out of the theater in the interval. And for the first time ever, after being in the industry for 6 years, I was crowded. I was crowded, surrounded by people wanting autographs,
Yeah.
photographs. And everyone was asking, Yash uncle, who's this girl? Where did you bring her from? Ye to kamal hai, ye kahan se lekar aaye? I
Yeah.
was amazed and I just looked up and I said, universe listens to you in the most unassuming way. I've actually
Yeah.
been relaunched by Yash Chopra. So that
Yeah.
for me was like my dream come true of working with the Yash Chopra. About the
So,
funny incident. Sorry, you were
may I
saying something.
interrupt you? Yeah, I
Yes.
was just saying that one of the things that we have always, as human beings, we always want things from God and we just want things to happen, and but we also want them to happen in a certain way. And we
Yes.
are not very accepting when they happen in a different thing, or sometimes we don't even realize that the thing that we had wished for has happened, but in a little different sort of way. So it's really nice to see that you were you got into it, and I know that your mother was instrumental in making you understand some of these intricacies of getting into the right cinema, choosing the right subjects and topics and all. So it's nice, it's wonderfully nice, but tell us the funny incident. I think people would enjoy that as well.
Well, the funny incident was I am actually I still am very clumsy. And I mean, I have a thing of just quickly getting up and quickly suddenly doing stuff. So even if I'm doing
Yeah.
yoga and the yoga
Yeah.
teacher will say, now come back to your posture and I will jhatka maru and come back. So he says, ma'am, aram se kare. So wo aram se, I don't know how to do it. So I'm always so
Yeah.
hyper and excited about things. So we were doing this scene with Shahrukh standing there, and I'm sitting on a charpoy, and there's the POP ka wall, पीछे मिट्टी का दीवार बना था जो POP से बना था. So I'm sitting and I have to get up when I see him and run towards him. So every time I would get up, I would get up the way I get up, and I would just break a bit of that POP wall. And every time they had to touch up. So, so Yash said, "अच्छा कर रही हो पर दीवार मत तोड़ो ना बेटा." I said, "जी sorry, sorry." So I said, "अब मैं दीवार नहीं तोड़ूंगी, promise." And I told Shahrukh also and Yashak also कि अब अभी ये last take है, इसमें नहीं दीवार टूटेगी.
Yeah.
तो मैं बहुत अपने आप को control करके बैठी. And the moment he said action, I don't know how I got up, but the entire wall came over me. So
Oh dear.
there was pin drop silence all around. I was aghast. I was like, "ये क्या हुआ? बड़ी बेइज्जती हो गई." And suddenly my eyes look at Shahrukh's eyes, whose eyes were like totally tearing up. He was. I was like, "Oh God!" He was controlling his laughter, and the moment he
Yeah.
saw me, he burst out laughing. एंड मेरा तो लाफ्टर और भी खराब है, तो मैंने उसको हंसते हुए देखा तो मैं और जोर से हंसना शुरू हो गई. So both of us were laughing and everyone was watching us, and the divar was gone, so Yashankar was getting the wall sorted, and he said, "ये दोनों हंस रहे हैं, इनको हंसने दो, let's
Yeah.
just get out, take a tea break until this is done, and then we join in." So that was our laughter bout that happened during Beat Zara.
Yeah, that's quite it's quite funny actually. And if you're a newcomer or if you're trying hard to do
But
too
the
much,
funnier was
then
with Salman Vaishali, where I mean, he
okay.
taught me how to die. So
Yeah,
it's his
yeah,
birthday today. So yeah, first wishing the birthday boy a very, very happy birthday. And secondly,
yeah,
I think he has been a rock star of a co-actor, and I had a huge crush on him when I was doing the film, and I was so
yeah.
disheartened that I'm playing his sister. And so nevertheless, I never gave up hope. I said, "Chalo, isme behnu agli mein heroine banungi, and I
Yeah.
must do it very well." So I was doing it. My only flip side was I didn't know how to die. I didn't know how to hold my breath for the camera, and I was trying, and there were ample number of retakes that happened. And the assistant director just ran up to Salman, who was leaving. He was packed up, and they said, "Sir, wo jo nayi ladki hai na, usko marna hi nahi aa raha hai." So he was laughing again. He just came and he asked me, he said, "What happened?" And seeing him, I just burst into tears. I said, "I can't die." So he laughed even more. So after that, he was like very protective, Vishali. He said, "Just sit
Yeah.
and copy what I do." So he sat right next to the camera. He lay on the dust just like me. He didn't have to. And he did everything, counting, giving me counts, breathing, stopping it, and helping me do that. And I've
Yeah.
now aced it. But how do you forget these things? And he gave me a treat because I did it. So very protective, very endearing, and amazingly witty. That was Salman for me.
Yeah, and you also have a photograph that he's clicked for
Clicked.
you, right? It's there
Yes,
in the book. He's
it's
taken
there
a
in the book.
photograph of you and it's there in the book, apart from other wonderful photographs that are there in the book. And it's sort of really nice to read each incident and the lives of these people who have affected you so wonderfully. And then to go to the photographs and the scenes that you're talking about. And I think one of the most talked about roles that you've had is Bhag Milka Bhag.
That's
Is
right.
there any strong memory that you have of that particular film, shooting it, or anything you'd like to share?
On a lighter note, I have had crushes on two people and I've played their sisters. It's been the biggest tragedy of my life.
Okay, so this is Farhan
One was
actor.
Salman, one was Farhan.
Yeah.
So, on a more serious note, I think I really got to know myself as an actor in this film. That most popular scene that we did, the court scene where she finds the earrings, which is
Okay.
like a
Oh
very
yeah.
popular scene by
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
we were rehearsing for that, and I was in my jeans and my t-shirt I was wearing, and I sat there, and somehow the scene was not working out. And Rakesh Mehra, he said, "Divya, why don't you just go wear your costume?" So I was like, "Acha, costume to pehn hi lungi, pehle lines to theek kar lun." But he said, "No, wear your costume." The moment I came back wearing my costume with the dupatta on my head and the salwar kameez, my entire body language changed without anyone
Hmm.
telling me anything. And I didn't even realize the power of the costume for an actor. and
Yeah.
everything changed. It suddenly started working out. And then Rakesh Mehra told us, we have the scene with us, but I need you to make a new beginning for it and an end. Give it yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
he said, just improvise. So me and Farhan were just thinking, and Farhan said, okay, I'll wear these dark glasses and come. And I said, okay, then I won't recognize you. And that's how we began the scene where I say
Yeah.
Hanji. And so that went well. I couldn't find an end to how to end the scene. And
Yeah.
whilst I was hugging Farhan, I realized that much before, like 2 years, 2 months prior, we had shot a scene where the younger Milkha is there with his father, and the father salutes him. And
Yeah.
that was not my subconscious, I would say. That was the subconscious of Isri Kaur that I was playing. And I was
Yeah.
really amazed that subconscious also belongs to the roles that you play and not just to you. And that is the power of it. And I just suddenly broke the embrace and I saluted him. And everyone was numb with emotions. Everyone was crying. Rakesh Mehra didn't say cut. And we were all there crying. Nobody used glycerine. That scene was very special to me. And I think that was the highlight of the film as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think your role in the film is tremendous actually, and it's actually just being the sister and the way things happen to her is the kind of pivot on which the whole story rotates. So it's quite deep, and it's very wonderful to see your acting in that, and so proud of you now. I wish I'd known you then so I could brag about
Oh.
it.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think one of the people you talk a lot about is Shabana Azmi, and then Sonu Nigam. So Javed Akhtar Saab. Do you want to just like talk a little about them and how they have been in your life and affected the way you function or work now?
So, as a child in your growing up years, if I was asked who's your favorite, it was always Shabana Azmi and Amitabh Bachchan for me. And both of them have been such an integral part of my book journey because
Yeah,
in my first book, the foreword was by Shabana ji and it was launched by Mr. Bachchan. And in the second one, Stars in My Sky, the foreword is by Mr. Bachchan and it's launched by Shabana ji. So somewhere
yeah,
I think in this journey that I've had, these two people became very integral in my life. Of course, we did our movies together. Of course, I used to look up to them, amazed, impressed, overwhelmed. All kinds of emotions came when I worked with them. But during the journey, I mean, also with Mr. Bachchan, I realized when I was doing Bagban, I used to feel very depressed, mouthing those nasty lines to him, and I didn't realize why. I didn't know how to differentiate between real and real. And
yeah,
I think he noticed it. He observed it, the sensitive person that he is. And one day he just called me and he says, come here. And he saw me sulking. So he just called me. I was not doing my regular happy good mornings to him. So he said, you're being very nasty to me, and my fans won't like it. And suddenly I was on a defensive. I said, sir, but this is just a role. And there
yeah,
was like a pause between the two of us. And he, without saying anything, had told me what he wanted me to know.
yeah,
And that I
yeah,
think is the bigness of a man. That
yeah,
is his sensitivity, his observation, his gestures make him the institution that he is. And I think these kind of things, even with Shabana ji, she would tell me these little things that I would do and that would help me during that. She was always been very protective. And then I
yeah,
met her on her holy parties, and that's where she introduced me to Javed Saab. And Javed Saab
yeah,
said, Bhai Shabana bolti hain, to kuch baat to hogi tumme. So, this couple, this beautiful couple, whenever I have done anything, be it a film or an ad or a song, they are the first people to call me and give me a feedback
yeah,
on that. So that I think matters so much, that somebody you have grown up watching, admiring, loving is the one who
yeah,
gives her feedbacks to you when she watches your work. And I've done something so beautiful with her called Sheer Korma, and we were doing this scene, and I don't rehearse much. So, and she knows that. So we were rehearsing, and she was really rehearsing full throttle with the tears and everything. And looking at her perform, it's natural that you would perform yourself too automatically. So I
Yeah.
was also all tears and crying, and she just kept her hand on my face. She said, "Shh, not you." I said, "Why?" She said, "You keep it for your take. You give your
Yeah.
best in that
Yeah.
take." Who does
Yeah.
these things? So I
Yeah.
think this is the large heartedness of these amazing legends that I have come across, and they now are a very integral part of my life. And I don't know where, but there's so much attachment that I feel with them.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's quite amazing to hear that they are sensitive not only to what they are doing, but to what the others are doing as well. And you do hear, like, I mean, Bachchan Saab, without having told you anything, told you everything, that it was just a role.
Everything.
Why
Yes.
you were getting worked up about it. It was just a role. So that's lovely to hear. I think we have a couple of questions here also, but we'll take them a little later. Um, I just wanted to ask you one question, that how is it, what I mean, it might be the dumbest question you've ever answered, but if you can talk about
I would love
how
that
are
coming from you.
actors. No, because see, I'm not familiar with your world, so I just want to ask you, how are actors and directors different from each other? Like, they have all been a part of your journey, but did you feel any perceptible difference between their way of showing what they that they cared, or the directors? Because there are several directors there. If you want to say a few words about them, and they have in their own way kind of guided you.
I think that's the most sensitive question anyone's asked me.
Really?
So, so that's
So it's not dumb.
Um, yeah, you're right. I mean, see, directors as such probably we don't get really much time to talk on the set because they're so busy doing so many other things more than just your role. So they have to
Yeah,
see everything else. But during the making of the thing, the confidence they have in you, the way they explain the scenes to you, the way they look over you as a role, like Rakesh Mehra
yeah,
did during Dilli Che. I was such an inhibited Punjabi girl, very
yeah,
wary of mouthing those expletives and all that. But when they got me so comfortable
mm,
playing Jalebi, I didn't realize, and I
yeah,
realized that that's a role that you do, and you keep Divya totally aside, absolutely
yeah,
aside. And so that bonding that you make during that journey, learning what do you say, not in your face learning, but you learn during the journey as such, and you don't realize you're learning it, but
yeah,
somewhere a bond is created. And also I think I would actually credit myself that people I have been very fond of during this journey, I make a point to connect, stay connected with them because I love them so much. And
yeah,
then that bond somewhere post the movies became even better with the directors,
yeah,
especially.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Sriram Raghavan is a very shy person. I didn't even know him when I did Badlapur. I went
yeah,
and asked him for that role. And when we did it, it's after that that we started bonding on old songs, and used to play quizzes, and they used to come home for karaoke. I mean, I've had a bonding so amazing with these directors. Also, I love their processes, the way they make movies. It just kind of mesmerizes me that they
yeah,
this is
yeah,
how they make their movies, and I listen to their stories. I make my inputs. So with directors, I think I have a totally different bonding, which is absolutely different, and I absolutely cherish it.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, all of them have a different way of expressing themselves, and sort of guiding you through it, provided you are
Yes.
listening. Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you want to talk about what the readers can find in this book? What do you hope for the readers to gain from this book?
Um,
Okay, it seems that Divya's internet has gone off, so we'll just wait.
yes. Am I back? Sorry. Am I
Yeah,
back?
yeah.
Am I back? Hi. Hi.
Yes, 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 yes.
Uh, what I um, what I gauged from the responses and reactions I got from all these people was that one of the nicest compliment I got was that I got to know you much better seeing your journey in the movies with these people. So with the
Yeah,
relationships you've had with them, I got to know you better. So I felt, how lovely is this, in a very unassuming way. This is also a biography kind of a thing, because this is my perspective, of the way I look at the
I think we've
industry
lost
and those
Divya again,
certain
but we'll
people.
wait for 5 minutes for her to come back.
I'm here. Hello, hello. I can see you, Vishali. Hello,
Yeah,
Vaishali.
yeah, yeah. You back.
Yes.
Start.
I was here. I could see you. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So no, I'm saying it's lovely to, also from a newcomer's perspective, people who want to join in the industry, people who don't have so much experience, how to come in. And I think they found it very relatable, that there has to be a certain, what do you say, innocence, थोड़ा सा naivety, ये सब चीजें
Yeah,
चाहिए to make. You can't just be so worldly wise. You learn your lessons whilst you go
yeah,
around. And also, I think everyone knows these people, all these stars, all these celebrities, all these big directors, from the point of view of what is written about them in the media. But to see
yeah,
them from another actor's perspective is something novel that people found. What does she think about them? What are they to her from her, perspective? So that, I think, is an interesting read. Is the reaction that I got from everyone.
yeah. I mean, you've been going around promoting the book, and you
Yes.
have even, yeah, you have been very active. I must say, during these times when we have just been sitting tight, you have been going all over and promoting the book. You've been to Orissa, Bhubaneswar, and you've been to Indore as well. Are you going there? Um,
Indore, Patiala, Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Orissa, and now I'll be going to Dehradun, then Calcutta, then Delhi is also on the pipeline.
yes,
So,
yes, January
and
and Delhi.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So I will hope to see you. I just want to take up a couple of questions now. So
yeah.
what is how is writing and acting different? How are writing and acting different from each other? And which is more difficult?
For me, I think rather than say what's different about them, I'd say the similarity is that both are such amazing mediums of expression. It's a beautiful outlet that you have of expressing yourself the way you want to, one through words, the other through your expressions and your dialogues. And
Yeah,
but in both the scenarios, you're expressing, and you're just giving it out. You're playing another life. You're writing an experience which is just expressing again. So I think it's delightful that people relate to what you write and what how you act. And
yeah,
I just feel very fortunate that way, that I just personally feel there are just two professions which allow you that kind of an expression, is writing and acting. And when you belong to both, it's
yeah,
amazing. Difficulty, I don't know. I think it's your own personal journey about what you're writing or what you're acting in. For me, I think the more challenging it is, the more interesting it becomes. The more nervous you are, the more better you perform.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I think the when we were doing this book, there was just so much to put together. At the end
Yes.
of the day, all the writing still coming in, all the photographs, and then trying to figure out which are the best photographs. The sort of, I feel that you tend to relive the journey. I'm sure you relived the journey when you wrote the book, and brought back memories from the time that you joined the cinema to now. And I think that one of the wonderful things about promoting the book that you are promoting is that Crossword seems to have stores everywhere that you have gone. So they have it in Indore, Calcutta, Jaipur, and all these places. And I think that we should all, promote our bookstores, our wonderful bookstores, and promote the habit of reading. So
Yes.
it's great that people can actually, after this chat, go to the bookstore and buy their books as well before the
Yes,
lockdown
please.
happens, if it does.
Yes, please.
Another
Absolutely.
question that comes is that do you want to be behind the cameras? And if you were to direct a film, what would be the theme or the plot of the film?
Whoever has asked me this question, I wish I could plan that much, yeah, in life.
Yeah.
I just
I was
flow with the
thinking of the
life.
same thing. Yeah.
I just flow with the present, whatever it is in this moment. As of now, I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation with my editor. This is the first time actually we both are really chatting on our book together,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying answering your questions. But kal kya hoga? You know, for me, it's always like if you want God to laugh, tell him your plans. So I have never planned. I just enjoy what He has
Yeah.
planned. I just work hard. Just that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think the people are going to, I think for now it's exciting to see this book out. It has all the people that Divya has worked with, all the wonderful people and what she's gained from them. There are photographs in the book, and it makes for a very, very interesting and engaging read, to really one in a way get into your brain, Divya, and to see people from that perspective. And while I was editing the book, I know that everything came very alive for me. I'm not
How
a,
lovely.
I look at film as a craft. I'm not always just a fan. So I look at it as a craft. I look at the direction. I look at the plot. I look at the story. I look at the people. And so it was very interesting for me to, see that. And I'm sure people who are entering the film industry would find it very interesting and know, try to weave their way about and have similar experiences. So it's been wonderful chatting with you, Divya. And if you
Same
want
here,
to tell
Charlie.
people your plans for where are you going next, so maybe some readers who have joined us can actually go for the launches that you are attending.
Well, I think I will surely be going to Dehradun, and then probably will be coming to Delhi or Noida, and then Calcutta surely in January. These three cities, but we still haven't really decided on the dates. But we'll shall surely keep you posted. And of course, you'll find your signed copies and at all the airports. I go covered up these days, पूरा mask लगा के ऊपर से टोपी पहन के जाती हूँ तो कोई पहचानता तो है नहीं ऐसे. And then I go to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bookstore. I went to Crossroads at the airport. I said, many books though. I didn't realize I'm covered. So he said, Hanji. I said, वो book है ना, Stars in the Sky वो दो. So he's saying, Madam, तीन ही copy है. I said, बाकी कहाँ है? And I chढ़ाओ on him. I said, बाकी कहाँ है? So he said, ma'am,
Yeah.
वो बिक गई है. So I said, so he got that. I said, it's me. I signed it. It was such an amazing experience, but I'm just loving this. What do you say? This sudden dhava on the bookstore just going. So I have to thank Crossword because there's been immense love that I have gotten for this book, and it just feels nice to see a book right there on the top of the shelf, and it's an experience one always cherishes to belong to the world of books and tell stories the way you want to tell.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing like the experience of actually going to a bookstore and buying a book. And I
Yes,
know for sure that, when you go to a bookstore, you end up looking at so much more. And then,
yes,
you see the book, and to see the book there in that context, we worked hard for this, that touching the book and
yes.
holding it in your hand. I'm sure it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And
It's like a
I'm so
baby,
glad
isn't it,
that,
Vaishali?
yeah, yeah. I still
Yes.
remember the day we shot for the cover, and all the naughty faces you made, and then one of them worked for the book. So
Yes, and I sent them all. Like, ye dekho.
yeah,
And
no,
but it's been such a journey with everyone giving in their inputs for our
yeah,
cover, for the marketing, for your edits. Oh my God! I mean, and thank you because I've been so flustered sometimes. So,
no, no.
because
I think that it was. I mean, you were doing lots of things and editing the book, and us being constantly on your case. ये आज करके दो, send it now, send this now, otherwise it won't go to press.
But I
It's
must
been
tell you, if you
really,
didn't give me a danda, I wouldn't write because I
yeah.
always, the lockdown, everyone thinks that she must have written beautifully during the lockdown. I just couldn't write during the lockdown. I was
Yeah, I
fogged
remember
out.
that. Yeah,
I wrote
yeah,
when the shooting started, and I used to wake up at 5 in the morning to write one chapter and then go for a shoot because
yeah,
deadlines just work for me very well. So thank you for giving
yeah.
me all those
And
deadlines.
always happy to. I feel like this. person who is asking for, he has given some money and is asking for it back.
But
Like that evil.
no, but you've been
Poor
very patient with me sending you all the stuff.
it seemed. I'm not sure it was patience, but wonderful to have chatted with you, Divya.
Same here,
Continue to
Vishali.
be the multi-talented person that you are, and
Thank
the
you.
very best wishes for you and the book. And
Thank
I
you.
think Crossword has already shared the links for the readers, and I hope that
Lovely.
lots and lots of copies sell and people enjoy the book as much as we have enjoyed putting it together. Thank you so much,
Thank
Crossword, for
you.
having us. Thank you.
Thank you, Crossword. Thank you, Harshil. Thanks, Vishali. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Harshal.